Dawn Taylor has long been wary of Joe Tate in Emmerdale, but she has now opened her eyes and chosen to set a plan in motion to get back at him once and for all. Her outlook shifted completely after discovering the recording Joe made of Victoria Sugden hiding the truth about John Sugden's killing earlier in the year. She challenged him over it and was appalled that he would sink to such depths, exploiting the clip against someone already in a fragile state. It's also worth noting that Dawn is aware Joe took Caleb's kidney and played a role in the limousine crash, yet she had still been standing by him. Joe talked his way out of trouble by insisting how deeply he cared for her and their small family. Although she responded with a kiss, the nagging feeling that something wasn't right never left her mind. When Moira Dingle came back after her time in prison, she immediately focused on making Joe pay for setting her up. This led to a tense moment at Home Farm, where she confronted him with a shotgun, only for the situation to be halted when Dawn rushed in and revealed she was expecting Joe's child. Even after Joe claimed Moira had misunderstood everything, Dawn felt compelled to visit her anyway in today's episode. Moira laid out the truth and even revealed that Joe had been responsible for cutting down Holly Barton's tree. As Dawn quietly absorbed the realization that her partner had deceived her all year, she returned to Home Farm to figure out her next move. This time, Joe's usual charm had no effect on her. As the episode ended, Dawn met Moira and Cain Dingle by the roadside and declared that it was time to take action against him. In classic soap fashion, Cain initially suggested getting rid of Joe for good, but Moira argued there was a smarter way to handle things, one that would strip him of everything he holds dear. In her view, that would be far more satisfying than ending his life, and Dawn agreed. Determined to bring Joe down completely, Dawn assured Moira and Cain that she was ready to play her part. Moira advised her to return home, act as though everything was normal, and keep Joe unaware while they prepared their next move. Stay close to your allies, but even closer to your enemy, especially when that enemy shares your home. As Dawn drove off, Moira allowed herself a quiet laugh, eager to begin and confident they would succeed. Still, they would need to stay cautious and calculated, because if Joe starts to suspect anything... Jacob finally decides to report Dr. Todd in Emmerdale, but things take a shocking and unexpected turn. Jacob has been through an emotional whirlwind with his boss and mentor, Dr. Todd. After growing exhausted from her constant intimidation and manipulation, he initially filed an informal complaint with HR. When Todd discovered what he had done, she attempted to persuade him to withdraw it using her usual tactics, even suggesting that firing her would rob the world of an exceptional doctor. However, Jacob stood firm and argued that her toxic behavior had likely driven many talented professionals away, refusing to back down. But the situation shifted dramatically when Todd overheard that Charity's surrogate child was not actually Jacob's. Seeing an opportunity, she used this information as leverage, threatening Charity that she would expose the truth unless Jacob withdrew his complaint. It was a ruthless move. Charity then put emotional pressure on Jacob, claiming she was acting in his best interests and safeguarding his future. Despite promising himself he wouldn't be manipulated again, he didn't anticipate this angle. As a result, Jacob chose to withdraw the complaint and deal with the situation on his own. HR were taken aback by his decision, especially after the detailed statement he had provided. They even hinted that others had raised concerns before, encouraging him to continue, but he still went ahead with the withdrawal. Unfortunately, pulling back the complaint didn't stop Todd's behavior. In fact, it only made things worse. She began openly belittling him in public and even targeted Sarah, implying that Jacob was more focused on work than on building a happy life with her. Unable to tolerate it any longer, Jacob confronted Todd at the Woolpack. However, he made a serious error by following her into the women's restroom after she walked away. Vanessa then entered and found him there, creating an awkward and damaging situation. Confused and concerned by his actions, Vanessa challenged him, prompting Jacob to finally reveal everything to Sarah, the bullying, deception, psychological manipulation, and gaslighting he had endured. Now fully aware of the truth, Sarah reassured him that they would face the situation together. She recognized how deeply affected he had been and encouraged him to regain his confidence and stand up for himself. She also took matters into her own hands by confronting Vanessa, which risked escalating the situation further. Determined not to back down any longer, Jacob decided to reopen his complaint. However, in a cruel twist, Todd had already acted first, presenting a large amount of supposed evidence against him. Every piece was fabricated, but it left Jacob stunned. Though shaken, Sarah urged him to fight back. The question now is whether he can overcome the situation, or if Todd has already gained the upper hand. Emmerdale spoilers reveal that Cain's long-awaited operation is approaching, but he's convinced it could cost him both his life and his marriage to Moira. If a relationship can endure betrayal as serious as a partner being unfaithful with a family member, you'd think it could survive anything. Yet for Cain, coming to terms with his prostate cancer diagnosis has been far from easy. Facing surgery is one thing, but the fear of how life might change afterward has left him deeply anxious about what lies ahead for his relationship. The procedure had previously been delayed after Jacob accidentally ran him over, leaving him too injured to go through with it. This setback not only increased the health risks, but also gave Cain more time to dwell on his worries. Moira returning home from prison might have been expected to strengthen him emotionally, but instead, it has intensified his fears. He has become consumed by the idea that the operation could alter their intimacy, leaving him convinced that Moira might walk away if their relationship changes physically. Before the surgery, he begins to open up to Moira about his concerns. Meanwhile, his close friend Liam offers support, giving Cain someone else to confide in. During their conversation, Cain admits he is even considering calling off the operation altogether. At the same time, Moira confides in Chas, admitting that her once steady marriage now feels uncertain, and speaking those fears aloud only makes them feel more real. Despite everything, they have managed to reach this point, and Cain ultimately keeps the surgery scheduled. He has an honest and direct conversation with Moira about what the future could hold for them. She reassures him that no matter what changes come, they will face them side by side. The question remains, however, will Cain truly believe her when it matters most? Emmerdale actress Lisa Riley has offered fans an update after suffering a painful injury, admitting the experience has been extremely tough. The star revealed she had a bad fall earlier this year, slipping from a breakfast stool and landing awkwardly, which resulted in damage to her left thumb. The injury was serious enough to require surgery, leaving her arm in a cast. While appearing on Loose Women alongside fellow panelists, she spoke about her recovery and how things are progressing. She explained that she is now 5 weeks into healing and is due to see a specialist soon, when the cast is expected to be removed. She also described the wound as resembling something like a bite injury. Looking ahead, she shared that rehabilitation and physiotherapy will be needed as she continues to recover. She admitted the whole experience has been very difficult, especially as she still cannot properly move her hand. She also mentioned that the accident happened just before a planned trip to New York, which made things even more stressful. Despite her concerns, doctors allowed her to travel and fitted her with an adjustable cast for support. She added a light-hearted touch by choosing a bright, Easter-themed colour for it. Emmerdale is broadcast on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1, and episodes are also available to watch from 7 a.m. on ITVX and YouTube.